Hi everyone, Dr. Shook here. I hope you're doing well today. In today's video, what I want to talk about is a very important topic, and that is Graves' disease. Now, a lot of people have learned from me that have a number of different autoimmune conditions, but primarily Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune thyroid condition that's associated with hypothyroidism or a low thyroid hormone output. Hashimoto's typically results in low thyroid hormone output because of the tissues that are targeted by the immune system. TPO is an enzyme and thyroglobulin is a protein, and both of those are required to make thyroid hormone. So if your immune system's attacking those things, you have less capacity to make hormone. However, that is the most common autoimmune thyroid condition in the world. However, there's another autoimmune thyroid condition called Graves' disease. Now, it doesn't affect as many people, but it is a very severe condition that results in hyperthyroidism, high thyroid hormone output, that can actually cause something called a thyroid storm. Now, the thyroid storm can result in a stroke and a heart attack. It's very serious, and this too is an autoimmune condition. It's very important to understand, is Graves' disease gone once you have the thyroid removed? Well, what is Graves' disease? I just told you, right? Graves' disease is an autoimmune AI thyroid condition. So it's actually not a thyroid problem. It's just like Hashimoto's in the regards or respects that it is due to the immune system attacking the gland. And in the case with Graves, your immune system produces antibodies that tend to stimulate the thyroid. Okay, so it stimulates the thyroid, causes this increased output and ramped up production of thyroid hormone that results in rapid heart rate, anxiety, can cause high blood pressure, heart attack, and stroke. You know, the thyroid storm is the greatest, immediate risk to someone with Graves' disease. It's why when you're diagnosed with Graves' disease, they can use some medications to try and suppress thyroid hormone output. But in most cases, a lot of the cases, you're going to recommend radioactive iodine ablation or a thyroidectomy, where they're going to remove the gland. Now, when the thyroid is removed, is the autoimmunity gone? So is the autoimmunity gone? So you can remove the thyroid, but is the autoimmune process, the immune system process, gone? No, it's not. What happens is, no, it's not. What happens is that you just remove the target that you're aware of. You're removing the thyroid, which is the target that you're aware of, that the immune system is attacking. In reality, if we did a multiple tissue antibody panel, multi-tissue antibody panel that looks at 30 plus human tissues, what we would find, because listen guys, I've worked with a lot of people with Graves' disease. I've worked with a lot of people that have Graves' disease and Hashimoto's that didn't even know it, because we helped them figure that out through testing. And every time we order multiple tissue antibodies, meaning we look at 30 other human tissues, we look from brain to bone to see if your immune system and the autoimmunity is expanding to other tissues. We find that these people have autoimmunity to a number of different tissues, anything from proteins in the blood to bone, to the stomach lining, to neurological tissues. I mean, the important thing to understand here is this. Graves' disease, like Hashimoto's, is autoimmune. You can remove the thyroid, and that may help you with the symptoms, but the autoimmune process is still there. It's why a lot of people that have their thyroid removed, you can ask, and some people say it's the best thing I ever did, and other people will tell you that they feel terrible, that they wish they would have never done it. Listen, and very closely when I tell you this, you must address the autoimmune component, because the immune system is still actively actively attacking other tissues. It's still ramped up. It is still very active due to the processes, the triggers, the things that are driving the autoimmunity, which we'll talk about those in a second. It's important to understand that if you don't address the autoimmune component, you're going to be missing numerous physiological changes and processes that will ultimately disrupt your thyroid hormone physiology. So you remove the gland, maybe you feel better, Then you're given a thyroid hormone. Well, your body has to do all kinds of things with that thyroid hormone. It has to convert it into T3, into the active form. It has to transport it through the body. There has to be sensitivity at the level of the cell. And if you have an active autoimmune process, that's the number one reason that people, they are unable to, or they don't feel well even when they're taking medications. You must address the autoimmunity. It's not just how you feel now, but it's longer term implications. Autoimmunity will expand to other tissues. You must address the autoimmune process and the drivers of the autoimmunity. So, the thing that you've got to understand is that when we look at all these tissues, okay, we look at these multiple tissues, we look at the thyroid, it is an autoimmune process. The process, what it does is it continues. Okay, it continues. The process here, the autoimmunity, is continuing. And that is one of the main reasons that people still don't feel well. You must address the autoimmune component or you will continue to decline. It's very common. Now some people are going to say, you know what? I had my thyroid removed, best thing I ever did. You're going to find just as many people that say, had my thyroid removed, worst thing I ever did in my life. And then you're going to have people in between. And you're going to have people that, even the people that say, it's the best thing I ever did, it's because they were terrible and now they're just not terrible, but they're not optimal. Many of them don't have optimal metabolisms. Many of them still have anxiety, depression. They don't sleep well. A lot of them still have problems. You've got to understand, guys, when you take the thyroid out, it's like scraping gum off the bottom of a shoe. There's still some gum in the treads. It's not like, oh, here's the thyroid and you cut it right off and there's nothing left. That's not how it works. And so even if you have radioactive ablation, the cells of the thyroid have to take up that radioactive iodine or they're not going to be destroyed. And in that case, what you end up with is remnant tissues that can still produce thyroid hormone to some degree and that may be able to regenerate. So, I've worked with people before that say, you know what? I don't know why, but my thyroid is there, or I'm producing thyroid hormone, but I had this ablation done, and it's because the tissues can regenerate to some degree, and they do in some people. So it's really important to understand this process, and just understand that there's more to it than just the thyroid. It is really an autoimmune process. When the gland is removed, the autoimmune condition has to be addressed. If the autoimmune condition is not addressed, the autoimmunity will expand to other tissues and create more problems for you. The autoimmune process will also disrupt thyroid hormone physiology and the physiology of the rest of your hormones. It will decrease sensitivity at the level of the cell. It will create problems with conversion. It will disrupt numerous physiological processes. So you're never going to achieve optimal health. And at the same time, it will lead to degenerative processes of the body. The brain is incredibly susceptible to inflammatory levels, to autoimmunity. So it's not, just removing the target of the immune system does not fix the problem. Okay, does not fix the problem. So it's a major issue. Now we take 3 steps when I work with people that are autoimmune, and that's primarily what I do. I work with people that have Hashimoto's and thyroid problems, but how do I address that? Well, I address it because it's an autoimmune condition. Do you understand? I address it it's because it's an autoimmune condition. So Graves' disease, it's an autoimmune condition. That's primarily what I work with. I don't necessarily just work with hypothyroidism. I work with autoimmune conditions. That's what we do. That's how I help people to improve their health. So we take a 3-step process. We do detect, remove, repair. Okay? It's a 3-step process that helps us to quantitatively figure out the factors that are driving the immune response. So detect, remove, repair. So we detect, we take a very detailed health history, we look at everything going on, and then we determine the testing that's needed to help determine the factors promoting your autoimmunity. And then once we have that data, we will work to remove the things that are driving the immune response. And then once we have removed those things, we work on repairing the damage that's been done. Okay, detect, remove, repair. It is repeatable. It is a framework that we use to get very consistent results and that allows us to to not miss anything, to stay organized, right? It's something that you can understand. Yeah, we're going to detect the problems that's driving the autoimmunity. We're going to work on addressing those by removing and replenishing what needs to be removed. If there's an infection or there are foods or there are chemicals, or if I need vitamins and minerals, we're going to get those, so we're going to replenish. And then once we've done that, we're going to repair and optimize. And so it's a very logical process we can repeat. So I wanted to share this because I know a lot of people suffer with Graves' disease. They're constantly asking, very frequently asking me, do you have anything on Graves' disease? So I wanted to do some things for people that have Graves so that you understand this a little bit better. You know, if you need help with Graves' disease and working to try and put it into remission, dampen that autoimmune process, you know, I'll do everything I can to help you. All of my videos on autoimmunity will apply to you. So just know that everything I teach for Hashimoto's, you can almost apply it directly to Graves'. But if you need guided assistance, if you want some help, I do work with people around the world and across the United States. You just go to new.thyroidconsult.com and you can learn all about working with me as a distance consulting client. We will do everything that we can to help you out. But I do appreciate you guys. I hope this has helped give you some clarity on Graves' disease. If you need anything, have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. But I do appreciate you. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks.